The Dad.
Rock and roll!
Well, judging from the carving on your desk, it looks like his name is Ozzy.
Yes, and apparently he rules.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
So I was scrolling around on the internet today and found an interesting video I want to share with you guys. And it's about a certain movie maker, director, producer, who I think is probably the epitome of the fan, Star Wars fan. But I kind of wanted to get into, can somebody who's not a fan of the franchise make a good movie for the franchise? Let's talk about Nicholas Meyer and The Wrath of Khan. So The Wrath of Khan is probably the best film of the Star Trek series, and the man who directed it, that Gene Roddenberry chose, this guy named Nicholas Meyer, who had never seen Star Trek, wasn't a fan, but he decided he was gonna prepare and do what he should do, and he watched the original TV show, watched the first movie, and he got to know the franchise really well. And he probably, like I said, he made probably the best Star Trek movie out there. So this is something that we need to discuss, because can a non-fan make a good franchise movie, a non-fan of the franchise? And a professional director who cares about the material, who knows the material through research and preparation, will do a good job. He should do a good job. On the other hand, nowadays we have directors who have been pumped up for no reason. They did not earn the kudos they got, and they get handed opportunities that should not have gone to them, right? And it doesn't matter if they weren't fans. Like I said, Nicholas Myers is the gold standard of how a non-fan can actually make a good franchise movie. I mean, that's the gold standard. But let's talk about J.J. Abrams. J.J. Abrams famously was not a fan of Star Trek, I don't think. He's definitely not a fan of Star Wars. I mean, I think he said that. He gets the call after they dump Michael Arndt for actually having the guts to say, I care about this and I want to do it right, because they had a time frame. And they had a hard time frame. It wasn't negotiable. They wanted to see profits come in from buying Lucasfilm, so they hire Captain Kmart here, and he makes The Force Awakens with Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Stalwart, Larry Kasdan. Larry did a half-ass job, but more importantly, JJ again proved why he's not a director of big tentpole films. All right? He doesn't care enough about the franchise to do it the right way. When he famously said, well, Han Solo's my favorite character. It was so disingenuous of him to say that. Then look what he and Kasdan do to the character. What they didn't do is they didn't care enough to think it through, right? Then it gets the rise of Palpatine, and it goes from suckage to what the fuck did I just see to burning it all down between him and the next person I'm going to bring up. And he can sit there and say he's a fan till the till the cows come home. But what we all saw up on the screen was not the product of someone who loves the franchise, who wants to do well by the franchise. And it was not the product of someone who cared enough about being a professional to do the right thing by the franchise. That's Rian Johnson. Rian Johnson made his name making quirky little movies like Looper, and then he did a Breaking Bad episode that everybody thought was good. I myself have never seen an episode, so I can't tell you. Rian Johnson was chosen not just because, he wasn't chosen because he was a good director and could handle a big tentpole movie and understood the lore and the genre. He was picked because Kathleen Kennedy could control him. And, when you hear all the stuff that went on behind the scenes, Mark Hamill saying, I fundamentally disagree with everything you've done to Luke. But then he said, I'll do it, but I disagree with it. There's that. There's, just the Canto Bight, that whole subplot should have just been cut away, gotten rid of. Right? It had no impact at all on the rest of the movie. Right? Throwaway characters like DJ, played by Benicio del Toro. And just the unprofessional way Rian Johnson behaved towards the fans when we complained. Pictures of fat, middle-aged men sitting in diapers drinking a bottle. He was calling, the fans man babies. This is where the fandom menace started, because it was a reaction not just to the movie, but to the way Lucasfilm and its representatives, and Rian, as a representative of Lucasfilm, treated the fans. And it was in such a mean-spirited way that, of course, you looked at him and said he's not a fan. But let's talk about a filmmaker who is definitely a fan. More on the other side.
Hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid.
The Marvel fans or the Star Wars fans?
Jon Favreau finally answers the question on everybody's mind, and as the director of Iron Man and The Mandalorian and Grogu, he might be the only one qualified to answer this question.
They're equally invested in the movies. They care, right? So I would say, but I think Star Wars fans, because people my age, our age, we grew up. I was there in '77 in the movie theater. By the time Return of the Jedi came out, I was an usher in Queens. And I worked my way through, my whole life has been informed by Star Wars, and everything that I love about cinema, that I love about genre. George Lucas really opened the doors to me, and that turned me on to Kurosawa, to classic Westerns, to all the influences that informed him, even Hot Rods and stuff because of American Graffiti. So that experience, seeing that movie at that age, opened up all those doors, and I don't think I'd be doing what I'm doing now if I wasn't impacted so much.
When you watch the video that I just posted of Jon Favreau talking about how big a fan he is of Star Wars and talking about how absolutely scary we are as fans, is eye-opening, because he's just like us. He grew up, went to Star Wars in 1977 with his dad, and decided that was his inspiration to be a movie maker. And he has made really good movies. Elf, Cowboys versus Aliens, Chef, which is great. And, he is creator of The Mandalorian. He also started the Marvel Universe with Iron Man. And it's really interesting to me listening to him how much he sounds like everybody else. He's 59. He's going to be 60, or yeah, in September, I think. He is Generation X, and one of those guys who is, basically, he grew up Star Wars like we did. And I think the reason why The Mandalorian had struck such a note, especially season 2, was because people saw the care and the love. Now, I don't know how Mando and Grogu are going to go, but I do know, and I'm going to say this mean-spiritedly, that if it fails, it's not his fault, and it's probably going to be a good movie. If it fails, it's going to be because Disney did not do the right thing by defending and explaining their work behind the scenes to remove Kennedy from Lucasfilm. I mean, look, when she was gone, and everybody saw this, I said this a long time ago, that she goes, these big YouTubers like Geeks and Gamers, Nerdrotic, Midnight's Edge are just going to aim at the next thing. And right now it's Jon Favreau, it's Dave Filoni. But it also could be, Jon Favreau, who has done nothing but give these guys pretty good entertainment. And once he got away from Kennedy, and, they don't, and I'm not going to say they don't have the right to criticize, but I really think they're not being the fans they say they are. I know for a fact at least one big YouTuber is not a fan at all. He could give a shit. All he wants is money. And he said that. And that's fine. I mean, I think that maybe he should just go out and make money and get off of YouTube because he's hurting culture, but that's me. When you hear John talk about it, about how inspiring seeing Star Wars for the first time was, that's us. That's the moment I decided I didn't just want to be a singer. I wanted to make movies too. I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to do all that stuff. I wanted to have good stories, just like what they do. But he's a fan, right? He's an actual fan. He's not a disingenuous prick like J.J. Abrams, and he's not a mean-spirited little jackass like Rian Johnson. He's like us. He went to it. He was like, this is what I want to do. When he finally got to, when Return of the Jedi came out, he was actually an usher at the theater he went to see Star Wars at. And that's a big deal. I mean, he wanted to get into the business because of George Lucas. And you can hear how much it means to him to be able to do this. Playing George's toy box with all the cool stuff. And I have to say that, I think we're very lucky to have him. I think that he should be given a chance. Because, look, we're not getting Solo. We're not getting The Last Jedi. This is going to be something on a tier far higher than that garbage. Because Favreau wants to see good Star Wars himself. Okay? And Johnny Favs is just like us. Okay? And he's a filmmaker I think we all should admire. This is Steph signing out. See you around the galaxy.